Here.
Paul Hayes.
Here.
David Kyle.
Here.
Paul McAfee.
Here.
LaDonna Allen.
Here.
And Roger Spencer.
Here.
Will you all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance on our invitation? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pray with me. Gracious God, we come before you to thank you for your presence here tonight for this session of the Carl Junction City Hall. We give all the glory and honor to you and acknowledge you as our creator and provider of all things. You know all things, and we humbly ask for your wisdom. God, as we begin this meeting, we ask that you would guide our thoughts and our actions so that we may guide and direct our community that you have entrusted to us. Please help us to make all decisions according to your will and your character. We pray this in your mighty name. Amen.
Thank you, Rick. Next is approval of the agenda. Any comments, corrections, changes to the agenda?
Make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second. Motion by Roger Spencer, second by David Pyle. We approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative. The agenda is approved. Next is approval of the consent agenda, which is approval of the minutes of the last meeting, both open and closed, and approval of disbursements. Any comments, changes, or anything you want to say about the consent agenda?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
a couple of draft minutes are still out here.
Oh.
That I'd like to get back when they have completed it.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by David Pyle, second by Roger Spencer, to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative, the consent agenda is approved. Next is public forum. Anyone wish to speak in public forum? Anyone at all for public forum? Last chance for public forum. Very well, then we'll move right along to a discussion of a Tesla proposal for police fleet vehicles. Steve?
Yep. What you have in your packet is some information, a proposal that Officer Amos Bindle drew up for us. And so he's here to talk about it and for you guys to ask him whatever questions you want to. This is just a option that's out there. So there you go.
Go for it.
Hello, my name's Amos Bindle. I don't exactly know what month. I know I talked with Auburn and Chief, and it was something that they said, hey, we should maybe just look at alternate savings for the city, because I know budget talks this year have been a little bit creative. So one thing here lately that I've been doing a lot of is a lot of research, education, maybe even testing out the waters. Currently I own 3 EVs as of Thursday. I'll own 4. So doing some self-tests, seeing how they do in the winter, summertime, springtime, fall. One thing, I also have a business on the side, and we do a lot of fleet management and trying to find cost savings where we can. One of the biggest cost savings right now happens to be in the fuel part of everything that we do. And so I drew up this proposal with a very open mind that it might not work for us. I was somewhat surprised by the numbers, and recently Tesla specifically has been dropping their price on electric vehicles by 30-ish% over the last year. So with that being said, I took the vehicle purchase prices, put those all together, did some cost of fuel versus energy, cost of maintenance, several other things. I know I mentioned some about environmental factors. I don't want you guys to think I'm going to get up here and talk about us saving the planet with EVs. That was just put in there just as extra information, because I know a lot of agencies, specifically Texas and California, have adopted full EV fleets. And in order to maybe persuade your public about spending money, they go the environmental route. Hey, we're trying to save the environment as well. A lot of the public you're going to deal with, you know, obviously on the backlash on everything you guys do, whether you guys do the right decision or not. The public just, for lack of better words, is very ignorant to the price of how much police vehicles have been costing, how much vehicles in general cost, and vehicle maintenance. I got stopped once by somebody whenever I was charging, and they said, "Man, how can you afford a Tesla? What do you do?" And I joke and say, "Oh, I'm a police officer," because, you know, we make so much money that we just buy EVs all the time. You know, all jokes aside, people don't realize you can get a brand new, you know, Tesla Model 3 for cheaper than you can some of these gas cars and hybrids. The Model Y is not a car. It would be considered your mid-size SUV. It would be comparable to the Ford Explorers that we drive. And that is the primary target, what I was showing on the cost savings. But I also included the Chevy Suburban because, as you know, we have one in our fleet at the PD. So on this proposal, it was really for information. I figured there's going to be a lot of questions as it is new uncharted territory for us. And so I came with some answers, and if I don't have them, I came with a pen to write down the questions and go find the answers for you.
Do you know of other police departments using Teslas?
A lot of them. I actually got invited up to Leawood, which I do some work up in Kansas City, so it's not too far away. I got invited. They currently have 13 of them, but after speaking with their maintenance over the vehicle, the guy that takes care of all that, because they actually hired a guy just for that, not, you know, us who kind of throw around a few guys. They are looking to change to about 70% of their fleet to EVs after next year. Out in California, there was an agency who officially, they started with 10. They officially changed out every single vehicle to EVs just due to the cost savings of what they can bring. And, you know, in California, everything's a little bit more, but Tesla actually controls their price, so you don't have the inflation of vehicles over in this market versus another one. Like if you go out to California and go buy a truck, it is going to be more expensive than if you buy it here at Joplin, Missouri. Tesla regulates all EV prices, and then also I should have noted in this proposal I didn't do any of the tax credit stuff because that's for you guys to speak to a tax professional on.
We don't pay
tax
taxes.
credits.
I've got some questions on this, and I'm glad that you said you're not trying to take the environmental thing, because I know some areas would be persuaded on this, but when you put in there our mission to do this and that, we've never, you know, adopted any kind of initiative. There are some questions right off the bat that I think we're going to have a lot more information. For one thing, the fuel cost is not right. That's not what we're paying on fuel. You're about 40 cents off right now. Now, I understand fuel can fluctuate and stuff, but the cost on the Chevy and Ford, is that something you got off their website, or is that the state bid?
So on Chevys, I got off their website, which is cheaper than what we got a bid for. On Ford, I got from the police chief on what the bid is for this year.
Okay.
And that is not outfitted with lights or sign. That is just outfitted with the connections for them.
Okay, so we got the website has a lower price than the state bid?
Correct. Because the website, you're not having the lights that flash, you're not having all that.
So it's not apples to apples?
No.
Okay, that's what I mean, like the actual police package, law enforcement package.
Yeah, so on the Ford Explorer I have here, it is just the Explorer that they send from the factory to come to CJPD so that it can be shipped and have all the, get light bar, you still have to buy the radio, you still have to buy everything else for that.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking though. Where did you get that Ford number?
The police chief provided me a bid for just the SUV portion.
Is that this year's state bid?
Yeah, that's off of the state bid. The state bid from Mockins Ford, Kelly Sales is the salesman there. And that is the base price of the Ford Explorer itself, plus the added options of what he's talking about, the wiring harnesses for the lights, the sirens, the radio, flashing wigwags and all that. Whereas we used to buy just a standard vehicle and we had to ship it off to have all that stuff.
But that includes that now.
And that includes that.
Okay,
Just the wiring stuff.
on the Tesla, on this law enforcement package, the Model Y or whatever it is, what does it come with?
So on this Tesla bid, this comes just like that Ford would.
So no cage, no light.
It doesn't have the
No
cage,
mounts.
it doesn't have the light, it doesn't have the mounts. These are just the bare bones price of vehicles.
Okay, so we would still have, but it comes with like the wiring harnesses and everything, or
Yes.
Okay.
With electric vehicles, they have a lot more features. Like, we actually would not have to put a camera system in them. They have 360-degree cameras. We wouldn't have to change out light wiring because that's just settings that they change on there and on the computer.
okay, but we'd still have to do the cage.
You'd still have to put in the
We'd
cage.
still have the light bar
They would put a light bar, and there's
and any mounts. Like, do they have any kind of like the tablet mounts, the radio mounts?
yes. So on the fully outfitted models, which the reason I don't have the price in here is there's only about 83 options you can add. And so to compare it with what we'd have to do, I would have to see all the stuff we add to our Ford Explorers. The Tesla ones, you can put on ballistic doors, you can have bulletproof glass, you can do all kinds of things. Whereas I would need a specific of what we're looking to do.
So since those don't come with the cage, with the mounts, that kind of stuff, I'm assuming we could not take one, like if we were going to phase out a vehicle, we could not take that and use it in the Tesla. Correct?
That is correct. You
So
can
we
do
would,
that.
we would,
Yeah.
because right now, if we replaced a vehicle with a combustion engine that we could switch it over, we wouldn't have that cost.
Correct, and that is if you buy the same vehicle, because the SUVs and the cars that we have, if we got rid of 105 right now, we could not fit that stuff in an SUV.
Now, speaking of fitting in the Tesla, I know more and more you guys are getting to where you have to have stuff. I mean, take stuff along, medical kits, whatever you have. Is it my understanding that on these Model Ys, they only have one seat in the passenger compartment? And the other is converted into storage area for law enforcement, like to take?
No, that is one package you can do. You can have a double cage, a single cage. It has 4 total seats in there.
Okay, so what about storage capacity then?
You have a trunk and a front, is what they call
Is it going to be as much storage room?
it. It should be slightly more. It is the large. It's got more space in it because you don't have a front engine,
Uh-huh.
and so they have more space to them.
Now, the model number that you put in here, is that the 2-seat in the past, like 4-seat or 3?
It
Is it
would
4?
be a
that
5-seat because the back ones break up into 3. But yes, that's the one.
That's
All of them come with 5 seats. They have an option for 7. It wouldn't make sense for us to do that because you don't need the extra space. But they would come with 5 seats, and this is not the lowest grade model. This is the all-wheel drive model. The reason I picked that one was because our SUVs are all-wheel drive.
okay. As far as the savings, you've got the fuel and maintenance savings. What comes included with this? I mean, as far as maintenance, what are we looking at? That's why I say we're going to have a lot of information because we need to know what's covered on the maintenance, what's covered on warranty. It's my understanding Kansas City's the closest service facility, right?
Kansas City and Tulsa is. Well, Tulsa's 10 minutes closer.
Yeah.
However, Tesla has their own team, and I can attest to this because I had a rear brake light it got water in it, and I said, hey, I don't want water in my rear brake light. They have a team out of Springfield that actually comes and fixes anything that's minor on the vehicle. If you have something going on with like, hey, my vehicle blinker is not doing what I programmed it to, or hey, a light's not flashing whenever I do this, they actually virtually get on your car and they send an update and fix it.
Okay, what if it's something more serious than an update or water in a lens cover or something?
Could you give me an example?
So the biggest thing that's gonna go wrong
Is
is
the
you're gonna
battery.
need to replace the battery.
And they come with a,
Aside that, it's just gonna be tires.
yeah, it's tires, and every 10,000 miles I do have a windshield wiper.
So what kind of warranty do they have on the battery? Because that's the most expensive.
Yeah, it's an 8-year, 150,000 mile warranty, which I noticed we don't keep our cars after 100,000 miles, and I don't think there's one 8 years old over there yet. I'd have to go look though.
So do they have a lease program?
They do have a lease program, however, whenever you lease one, they would not allow all the police stuff to be put on, because whenever they put that on, they're actually attaching things and you're gonna leave marks if they
So-
put it on.
Like Enterprise, I know. I think it's Enterprise, isn't it, that has a fleet leasing program for PD?
Enterprise does.
But Tesla doesn't have anything like that?
Tesla does not have that for police departments specifically. I know they've partnered with, it's called Upfit, and Upfit has some programs involving them. I know currently Tesla has special financing for Model Ys, which is the 1.99%, but the leasing is not an option on patrol vehicles for that.
Okay. And I know, I've got a bunch of questions, sorry.
That's-
That's what I do. Like I say, the cost, we really can't compare, like, as far as the maintenance cost, I have no idea what the labor rate they may be charging in the travel to come to from Springfield, but
It's free. It's included for, I want to say it's 4 years, 50,000 miles.
okay.
Or 60,000 miles. I can put it on our website real quick.
On the fuel, well, I mean, that's fine, we'll need, on the fuel and maintenance cost. Like say on the fuel, you've got 315, I mean, was it 270 or 275, Steve, the last?
275.
275, so,
Whenever I got that number, I looked at Walmart on my way.
yeah, and we're buying, in bulk. But on the electricity, couple things. I don't think we have a large outcry of people to switch to EV. I mean, out of the 4,000 or 5,000 registered vehicles we have, you don't see that many. But one of the things too, even if it's electric, you're still using fossil fuel to produce that electricity. So we're not going to impact anything. Like you say, don't take the other in.
Yeah.
But on the electric, I know you said that it would, like, officers, there would be like police excitement or whatever because of the technology. Are they going to give up their take-home cars?
On the Teslas, I mean, I probably would not be able to answer that because it requires some speculation. I'd have to simply ask all the officers.
Well, I mean, because that, we were told like a year ago that was the main officer retention, officer recruiting. That was one of the big benefits, was take-home vehicles.
And
So that will eliminate that if we.
on that, it would actually be almost smart to have them take it home, because then they're charging on their dollar.
I really think there's probably some liability if we have them charge it at their home. For one thing, we're charging. I don't think we can make people pay the electricity because we don't make them pay the gas. But two, in case anything would happen with their system or with ours, if it's out of our control, I don't know that they could.
So how charging works, I'm actually Tesla certified in their charging system network. So how charging works is they have their own brand charger. You can obviously use other ones like the J185 plug or the CCV, but it's cheaper to use theirs whenever it's theirs. It's 3 wires. two lines and a neutral.
Uh-huh.
The only thing that, because they are NEMA 3R rated, they're waterproof, the only thing that it would do is charge them for the fuel. And I know several of our officers have like full solar systems and stuff. But even if you did not allow them to take those, I mean, they could be installed at the PD.
Yeah,
Charge
that's what I just want to make sure that,
$475.
I just wanted to know as far as, because we were told that was a really big thing for officer retention, so.
And with that being said on officer retention, I mean, how many officers would come from another agency saying, wow, this is cool technology, they actually have Teslas, like, you know.
That sounds like my kid though, when he was a teenager and the new iPhone came out.
Oh, I don't know if it's not officers.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I personally, I think we need a lot more, because I even talked to the sheriff today to see if they have any, if they considered any, or yesterday, I guess it was. And he said no, because he has never had anyone that could prove to him that they would be reliable and have practical application for their need. So, and I mean, he's
Well,
out of the
I
county.
think what you need to say is how the Jasper County Sheriff's Department has the entire Jasper County.
Yeah.
We have,
How big is Carl Junction?
Well, but that's the thing. Part of the argument in here is it would improve response time. If you get up to speed 2 seconds faster, you can still only go so fast.
and the handling on them.
Yeah,
They
but you
have
can,
electronics.
you're in residential. That's why I'm saying
How many miles do they go on a charge?
Depending on which model you get,
Oh, this one here you're talking about.
it would be a little bit over 313. Now, you would obviously do for battery degradation, you'd only charge up to 80%. You wouldn't want it to get under 20% or 10%, unless you're going on long trips and you can charge it up to 100%.
Right. So
So
how-
you're gonna get 270.
Mark, how many miles does a police officer go on a daily basis?
I'll just say this, when I first started here, we had an officer that liked to rack up miles at the beginning of the shift, so when they worked night shift, they could go find someplace to sleep. I don't encourage that, but I'm saying that because that officer would start out at the station, go down Joplin Street, Fur Road, to Highway 171, to Ivy, back into town, down Joplin Street, to Fur Road, to Ivy, and make circles, and her average was about 120 miles a night.
Okay.
That's busy.
Yeah, and I know that the new convenience store we have down there by me at Doritos it was designed to have charging stations, electric charging stations. They have not put them in yet, but that was in their plans.
But we
Do they
won't
make
charge our
charging
city.
stations where you can charge more than one vehicle at the same time?
Yes, ma'am. That would be running it in parallel. You can either run them all individually. They have pedestals front and back, so you put them up side to side so that they can reach to both sides of the car. They only have a 24-foot cord, which is more than enough. But yes, they do. And you could control whether you charge it at the max of 48 amps, you can go down to 30 amps, you can
If you had
control how
two
fast.
cars that came in at the same time that both needed charge, you could
Yes,
plug them both in
Yes,
to
ma'am.
one unit.
Did somebody in the area have one?
A Tesla or a charging station?
Tesla.
A friend of mine.
Guy who lives behind me has one.
No, I meant cop car.
You mean PD car?
RBD?
Legal,
No.
I think.
Leewood's, I would have to do a little bit more research. I know Osage Beach has them, Leewood has them. Obviously, Kansas City area has a lot of them.
So Osage Beach does?
Yes, I actually saw one about a couple of years ago, and I joked with Mark about looking into it because Osage Beach had one. Jasper County, their head dispatch center guy, his name was Steven, he worked for us for a little bit. He went to a police conference, he said about 30% in Missouri had it.
The reason I ask is, do we know someone well enough that we could have one in the parking lot? We can look at?
Yeah, I actually had a buddy that was gonna come down, it was on Saturday, but he was gonna bring it, but I couldn't get it, it was last minute thing, but I could talk to somebody, try to get one down here.
And this may sound like I'm being silly, but I'm not. Could we be like, take it out the Mocan and race? I want to see who against. For real, I want to see the performance of them.
Well, and I know they do they say their acceleration and everything is great. I'm just saying, we don't need that much in car. We're not,
Well,
out of
in the
freeway.
response time, we are seeing new officers and teaching them the streets. It's not terrible until you get to Briarbrook.
That's what I was gonna
It's
say, but-
embarrassing.
Yeah.
It takes very long, but you have a 19-inch touchscreen with Google Maps to where the address comes out, it dispatches, and they hook in the computer and it puts in the address and shows them the fastest way to get there.
So I got them pulled up here, a police car version, and they look really cool, and it looks like there's a lot of modular things you can do to it, but I'd just like to see one, if you can arrange that to where we can all
I
see
can
it.
work on that.
Well, what do you have?
I have Tesla Model 3, Tesla Model X, Tesla Model S Plaid, and then my Cybertruck comes in Thursday.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. Can I bring my kids over?
0 to 60 time, you can ask Marv. It gets up there, might get a little dizzy. It made me dizzy. I actually got scared about 45 and let off. It's pretty fast.
Do you have the self-driving package on any of them?
On 2 of them. Well, it'll be on 3 whenever the Cybertruck, but that's the Foundation series that comes with it. Yeah. It's
You don't like
actually,
that?
yes. So that was one of my studies. Now, obviously, I didn't put it in here because we're not going to use self-driving more than likely here. Last August, with my Model 3, I drove to Carthage and I put it in full self-driving. It kicked me out, it kicked it out 3 times because of, hey, the lane's not good, whatever. It didn't sense it. Since version 12.4.3 came out, I don't even hold my steering wheel anymore. I simply hit the work button and it drives me here. And if you ever see my car backed up, that's because it backs in and parks full.
Yeah.
And my spot's that big, so.
My dad has one and I've done that and it's.
The technology is extremely advanced for the car. The cool thing about them is every single update, it works just like your iPhone. Every single update is retrofitted to the back models, and they did it. On all the back models, if they go get full self-driving, they're actually putting the new computer, the hardware for computers in them, which gives them Tesla vision.
Does Tesla have any issues with, I don't know, viruses and cyber attacks?
They have not had any issues yet. Knock on wood, I have to say yet, but it's technology. I mean, we can't rule out all possibilities.
Now, okay, and one more thing, because I know I'm asking a lot, but
No, that's fine.
But you know, if it makes sense, I'm for it. If it's just because it's cool, like
Oh, absolutely.
use your iPhone you have right now, kid.
Yeah.
But does GM has a police model, right?
Yes, they have a Blazer EV.
How does that? I would like to just see
So-
comparisons on, like all of like the GM, the Tesla,
So to piggyback on that, I have looked at other EVs. I didn't buy the Ford Mach-E. I first thought it looked terrible, but the main reason why is they haven't adopted the NACS, which is, I call it the NAC. It's a National Association of Charging Standards. Tesla's biggest thing that's helped them is their charging network. Their charging network has figured it out, how to charge this vehicle the absolute fastest. My charging when I first started was 30 minutes, now it's down to about 11 minutes. They have unlocked faster charging. GM, all these other use a J185 plug, which comes, you can get the Tesla thing, but they can only charge at a level 2 charging pace, which you're sitting there longer to charge. You might only get 18 miles an hour of charge versus 49. Then if you throw it on a supercharger, you'll get up to 900 miles an hour on the charging for a Tesla versus the most that's going to get is about 30, 40 if you're on a faster level 2.
so those you would basically just have to,
You would have to buy.
when you ended shift, you would just have to.
You'd have to buy an expensive charging station. The Chevy Silverado, I looked at it because I thought it looked like a really cool EV until I found out it takes 8 hours to charge that. And that quickly turned off my attention because in 9 months, I put on 36,000 miles on my Tesla Model S. So, I mean, I've really tried to, I drive it everywhere. Out of Dodge City, Kansas, and back.
How much are the chargers? Like,
$150 for the charger, then you have 6.2 wire, which is about $2.11 a foot, last I checked. To install one front to back, you're looking about $600 a charger. But if you have them, you can get a hold of, Liberty does a program that they will actually supply the charger. You have to pay the $20 a month lease fee for it, but then they only charge you 3 cents a kilowatt to charge, which would put your vehicle at roughly 80, 90 cents to go about 300 miles.
You said 11 minutes. Is that from like 20% to 100% or
That's 20 to 80 or 90, depending on what you set your car.
11 minutes?
It's gotten fast. Like I used to go into the gas station, go to the bathroom and all that, get a drink, whatnot. Now it's like, hey, go in, grab a drink, get back out, unplug, and then go.
Do you have a channel where you talk about EVs?
No, I actually got invited from some of my solar friends to start a thing that would go through Dallas to here for electric vehicles and charging. But no, I mean, I didn't buy an EV because I'm a green tree hugger. I bought it because I have such a big solar system that I was making 1,000 extra kilowatts a month. And, Liberty was offering me all of $6 for that, but would charge anybody else $200, $300 for that bill. So I said, screw that, and I bought an EV just so I could offset all the extra that I created.
Smart.
So it's not a environmental. I put that in here because whenever the public, sees it, you gotta have a few angles to say, hey, it's cheaper and we're saving the environment. I do not believe that personally because of the amount of CO2 and stuff you use whenever you're mining those batteries, but they are coming out
it kind of,
they are
kind of
coming out
offsets.
the 4680 battery cell, so that should be on this wall.
Well, you seem very knowledgeable. You should start a channel.
Hey, I gotta find time. I work too much.
well,
Anything else?
I like to say, not to grill you, but
No, absolutely. And this, I wasn't really given a whole lot of guidance other than, hey, do a comparison. And so this was me winging it.
well, I'm like Rick. I'd like to see him.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, I don't see from the inside of a police car.
Could be in the back.
Figured out that compartment room.
They do have slightly more room for they have rifle racks, shotgun racks, printing stations, computer stations, stuff like that. And they can even integrate the computer into the screen so the computer stays in the trunk and you can use your screen as an NDT.
I Googled one on here and it was $80,000, but it had all the bells and
All the
whistles.
time.
Yeah, they put those special, they have some where they put on these special things on the front sides to go 360.
That's great.
I mean, I was just asking for bare bones. I wasn't even looking at the deer brush guards for them yet. I just wanted the bare bone cost of the SUV.
Well, if you would go back and talk with the chief, figure out what else we would need for the bare bones.
Yeah.
And get us some updated numbers.
Absolutely.
That way we can cut, because, we've got about 55,000, I think we said now. So we're gonna be looking at next budget
Absolutely.
to purchase something, but we need the whole package. what it
And,
costs.
and another thing, I know Steve talked about this a little bit, is the good news with the Tesla is they do financing for a commercial account. So I know you guys always buy your cars outright. We own them. That's awesome. But 1.99%, and they were down to 0.99% a couple months ago. But at that low of interest rate, the borrowing the money versus you guys fronting all that, I mean, you guys can put that money towards other things that you can't borrow against and have a cheaper payment.
Police salaries.
Use tax would be really nice right now.
Used to.
Use tax would have been really, really nice.
Well, thank you very
If
much.
you guys have any questions?
Very enlightening.
Yeah, it's obviously something different, so I knew my crowd would be kind of tough because, I got one person that's, younger, but then the others I have to get these two.
Oh, Amos? You're lucky I like Allie.
I was just saying, it's something new. Honestly, my wife is actually 100% against EVs. Whenever I told her, hey, let's go, buy a Tesla and all that, and she told me no. The father actually insinuated I was not normal. But
A tree hugger? Did he call you that? Like I wanted to?
Yeah. Well, we went to Tesla and we test drove it, and she's the one who wanted buy it right then and there. And I was like, let's do some more research. And I think if you really look into them, you'll see a different side, especially from where they started versus where they are now. After they got rid of the P90 batteries, that's whenever their mileage went from like 180 up to like 300.
Pick your car and show up out there at Rick's office and take him for a ride.
I got the Model S outside.
You drive that, and then I'll drive one of the cop cars and we'll race.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, we can't afford that.
Yeah,
Liability.
Talk about liability.
I appreciate your presentation. I just wanted to ask if you could come over and help me set the clock on my VCR.
I thought you had made it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ava. Even though you called me old. Go tell Allie what you did.
I heard.
All right, moving right along. Next discussion on Bulldog Beach. Steve?
Yeah, you've got some information in there and a couple of pictures. We put 29,700 gallons in that deep well. And it's a nice picture of my hand with a finger. The 5 gallon
Finally figured out what
bucket in
that is.
that week and a half, the 5 gallon bucket, it only went down that 3 inches. And then the deep well was totally empty. We lost all the water. Within 4 days, I think it was 4 days, it was down 4 foot already. So it was pretty obvious that it was leaking on it. And then I gave you the historic there of water that we've used on an annual basis for that. So, there you go.
I'm disappointed that it leaked out, but I'm glad that we know for sure.
Mhm.
And thankful to Public Works for filling that so we can see.
It actually took longer to fill it up than what it should have too.
I thought you were going to say that it didn't leak out.
Well, maybe, because figured up this 6-inch pipe at 52 PSI is supposed to move so many gallons of water a minute, and it should have taken like 6 hours to fill that. It took almost 12. So,
Did we get any information as to know where it's leaking?
we did just the deep well only, like you guys
Oh,
asked for, and so because that's where there are some other cracks, but that is where the majority of the cracks are at. And as those lines go down through the center of it on each side that are the fill lines, they have different size heads in them so that they put out different amount of when the system's operating gallons per minute, and those have the highest volume down at that end of the tubes.
So we probably have problems with the lines
But we
and the
can't
basin.
quantify that now, though,
Yeah,
right now.
it's there.
So we just need $2 or $3 million.
The only way to be able to quantify it is if you fix the pool
And then it still leaks.
and then
And then you
then
tear
try
the
to
pool
fill it
out.
up and then see what the lines are doing. But, I mean, if it hold water, even though lines are leaking, you're not gonna have to have those lines on all the time either.
Well, yeah, because that's the circulation of the pool. Those lines are on all the time when you're circulating.
Oh,
Yeah. It's not like we can shut those off because you gotta have that circulation, that filter.
oh, great. All right, any other questions about the pool?
Yes, we do.
If not, we'll move on to ordinances. The first ordinance is an ordinance approving change order number 1 with G&G Construction for the 2024 wastewater treatment plant improvements.
Move to put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Donna Allen, second by Rick Glenn to put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance approving change order number 1 to an agreement between the city of Carl Junction, Missouri and G&G Construction to complete the 2024 wastewater treatment plant improvements for the city of Arlington, Missouri. Said change order number one being to add bypass pumping at a cost of $5,753.89, increasing the total cost of the project by said amount and authorizing the mayor to execute said change order number one for and on behalf of the city of Carl Junction, Missouri.
Okay, what do we need?
I don't know if I can explain it very well. I might have to have Jay do it.
All the water that's coming to the sewer plant got bypassed around the wet well and downstairs basement where they had to redo the plumbing.
There you go.
Everything that was coming from the north and the south into town all got jumped around the building back out
Okay.
just while they was working on that downstairs plumbing.
So in your expert opinion, we really need this?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, they had a big problem. It's 3 stories deep down in there. If they wouldn't have had it, they'd had problems
Okay.
when they cracked all them pipes open.
Make a motion to put the ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by David Pyle, second by Roger Spencer to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance approving change order number one to an agreement between the city of Carl Junction, Missouri and G&G Construction to complete the 2024 wastewater treatment plant improvements for the city of Carl Junction, Missouri. Said change order number one being to add bypass pumping at a cost of $5,753.89, increasing the total cost of the project by said amount and authorizing the mayor to execute said change order number one for and on behalf of the city of Carl Junction, Missouri.
Any further discussion?
Move we put this on final passage.
Second.
Motion by Ladonna Allen, second by David Pyle to put this ordinance on final passage. This is a hand vote to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative, please vote electronically. 8 in the affirmative, with no negatives, 8-0, and that is ordinance number
2418.
2418. Thank you. Next is an ordinance approving a contract with Denali Water Solutions LLC for sludge removal.
Move we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Ladonna Allen, second by Carol Wolford to put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance approving an agreement between the city of Carl Junction, Missouri and Denali Water Solutions LLC to perform lagoon cleaning services by removing sludge and land, applying the material to permitted fields for the city of Carl Junction, Missouri for a sum estimated to be $99,000 for 1,500,000 gallons of material, including mobilization costs, providing the terms and conditions thereof, and authorizing the mayor, city administrator, and/or public works director to execute said agreement for and on behalf of the city of Carl Junction, Missouri.
I'd like to have you comment on this, Mr. Talley.
Yes, this comes as no surprise to the mayor or to Steve. I read this contract last week for the first time and drew the ordinance accordingly, but in the contract, Denali, who's been in litigation in other situations, has a limitation of their responsibility such that the only thing they agree to do, if they agree that they messed up, is to do it again. All other warranties, all are totally disclaimed. The sludge that goes out belongs to the city, and if it does damage anywhere, it is the city that is responsible for that damage. And to top it off, the responsibility of the city will be determined by Arkansas law in Arkansas courts by Arkansas judges. Missouri law will not apply. So, this is a very one-sided contract. I couldn't believe these terms when I read them. I talked to Steve, talked to the mayor. Apparently, we have no choice. But I didn't want anybody to approve this without knowing what up front, what you're getting into. The city does not lose responsibility for the sludge at any point. And in this litigious world, there is some risk. So that's all I had to say.
Do we have any other options?
That is.
No, that's the
I
problem.
I think
don't think we do. Is there any companies
Would they have these same,
What they'll do is they'll land apply it here in Missouri, and there'll be a whole lot more red tape. Right now, they take it to Kansas, and Kansas, we don't have to report anything over in Kansas in Missouri. It goes to the farm fields out here, they disc it in the fields, it's gone.
How long has this company been working, doing this?
Years.
Because we've done this before, so.
Oh, yeah.
What their litigation is in Missouri and Arkansas is they had sludge holding ponds where they couldn't land apply it, so they took it to their ponds and land applied it, or put it in their ponds to hold it until the fields come available, because they're only allowed to apply so much to the field before it has to set, and then they can apply more. Well, the people around them ponds started complaining about the smell.
And it was,
That's what all the litigation.
It was animal.
it was, animal food production waste. It was not, like from Tyson or somebody like that.
They've probably been doing it here, I would say, since before 14, that's when Marvin passed away, and they was doing it years before that. And now, we used to do it every year, but when we did that plant upgrade in 14 and 15, they put in 2 aeration basins, so now all the sludge goes in there and aerates, and then it goes out to the pond and reduces the amount of sludge, so we're down to do it like every 3 years now.
So if we were going down the road, our sludge was going down the road in the truck had a wreck, the sludge spilled out, it would be our responsibility.
Absolutely. And I don't want anybody to misunderstand. I'm not disagreeing with Steve. I'm not disagreeing with anybody on this. Just want you to understand the risk that we're taking.
Because of the difference in law for applying it in Missouri and in Kansas, even if Denali would do it in Kansas or in Missouri compared to another one, because of the red tape that Missouri has in place on this, it increases our risk because we have to do more. There's more testing.
Yeah.
There's more. There's just a lot more involved.
But you're saying it'll be more expensive.
The
Yes.
first year I was involved in it, we took it to Kansas, had it land applied. I took all my tests that they'd done up to KDHE in Pittsburgh, and they said, we don't want that, take it to EPA.
So is there a possibility of another company that dumps in Kansas that we could maybe do a different contract with?
They've been dealing with Jesse's out here just across the river for years. It's just whether they know somebody over there in Kansas.
Well, I can tell you firsthand what happens when you don't clean out your sludge.
I mean, I know one other company that does it, that approached me on it when they was down there working. They cleaned out the road or the ditches. When we had that last plant upgrade, they cleaned them out. It was Hill House, and they said they was interested in bidding on it. And then we had another company the other day that said that they was interested in it, CL Plumbing over at Carterville.
They dump in Missouri?
CNL grease. CNL grease.
CNL Grease.
Yeah.
So we don't have any companies that dump in Kansas that we don't.
Not that I know of. All I've been associated with is Denali.
you would stick with them though? You would stick with them though?
They've always done a good job for us.
Assuming that we approve this ordinance and contract tonight, I think moving forward, it sounds like it would be a good practice to issue an RFP for the sludge removal. And we could specify in that RFP to include where the disposal of the sludge would take place and use that to differentiate between which is the best proposal.
Just have to remember that 3 years from now.
Right?
I don't need a stress test.
Sorry. But this meeting wasn't supposed to last this long.
Well, I move we put this ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Holly Levine, to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance approving an agreement between the city of Carl Junction, Missouri and Denali Water Solutions LLC to perform lagoon cleaning services by removing sludge and land, applying the material to permitted fields for the city of Carl Junction, Missouri, for a sum estimated to be $99,000 for 1,500,000 gallons of material, including mobilization costs, providing the terms and conditions thereof, and authorizing the mayor, city administrator, and/or the public works director to execute said agreement for and on behalf of the city of Carl Junction, Missouri.
Any further discussion?
Move we put this ordinance on final passage.
Second.
Motion by Holly Levine, second by Rick Glenn, to put this ordinance on final passage. This will be a hand vote to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative, please vote electronically. We have 7 affirmatives and 1 dissension. Who is that?
Me.
Oh, David?
Yes.
David Powell? No. The ordinance passes 7-1. That is ordinance number
2419.
So Holly will be the only one here probably to remember in 3 years.
She's the only young one, remember?
Next is an ordinance amending chapter 140, purchasing.
We put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Carol Wolford, to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance amending Title I Government Code, Chapter 140 Purchasing, Article 1 Purchasing System, by amending Section 140.060 Formal Contract Procedure to raise to $5,000 for purchases that can be made without receipt of verbal or written proposals, and to clarify the requirements to make certain purchases.
Discussion.
The code nuisance talked about this last time when we recommended approval.
Yes, sir.
The code nuisance approved that $1 mystery gap that really created a little $1 not covered. So I took it back out.
Oh,
There you
There goes your loophole.
Thank you, Mr. Talley.
It just for you. I know it looked like it made sense, but it really didn't.
We did read it.
Any further discussion?
Math is hard.
I move we put this ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Walter Hayes, to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance amending Title I Government Code, Chapter 140 Purchasing, Article 1 Purchasing System, by amending Section 140.060 Formal Contract Procedure to raise to $5,000 for purchases that can be made without receipt of verbal or written proposals, and to clarify the requirements to make certain purchases.
Any further discussion?
Make a motion, we put this ordinance on final passage. Second.
Motion by David Powell, second by Rick Spencer, to put this ordinance on final passage. It will be a hand vote to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative, please vote electronically. We have 7 yeses and 1 no. Is that you, Walter?
That was my
Holly, I'm sorry, I can't see that far away. I guess I'm blind.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I can do that. Okay.
I'm old.
All right. We have 7 yeses and 1 negative by Holly Levine. So the ordinance passes. That's ordinance number 2420. Thank you very much. Next is an ordinance amending chapter 215 nuisances.
Move we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by LaDonna Allen, second by Roger Spencer, to put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance amending Title II Public Health, Safety, and Welfare, Chapter 215 Nuisances, Article 3 Weeds, by amending Section 215.230 Notice to Removal by City of Lockport Failure, to provide 10 days notice of a hearing to the owner of property before ordering abatement of the nuisance.
Discussion.
This came about in some of the research that we were doing on SB 5 and SB 572. The state law changed. Our code never has. It used to be that we had 5 days in there, and state law says 10 days. So we are just changing our code to match what state law says.
Any further discussion?
Make a motion to put it on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Roger Spencer, second by Ladonna Allen. Put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance amending Title II, Public Health, Safety, and Welfare, Chapter 215, Nuisances, Article 2, Weeds, by amending Section 215.230, Notice to Remove, removal by city upon owner's failure, to provide 10 days notice of a hearing to the owner of property before ordering abatement of nuisance.
Further discussion?
Put this on final passage.
Second. Motion by Donna Allen, second by David Fowler, to put this ordinance on final passage. All those in, this will be a hand vote to go to electronic voting. Please signify by raising your right hand, 8 in the affirmative. Please vote electronically.
Please, for
8.
professional.
All 8 in favor of it. That is ordinance number.
2421.
Thank you. Next is ordinance amending chapter 500, general provisions.
Wait, that was 24, 22.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
21, wasn't it?
Yeah.
21.
That one should be 22.
Well, then I read something else.
Because we had 18, 19, 20, 21.
18 was.
18, 19, 20, and 21. 18 was wastewater treatment, 19 was sludge removal,
Yeah.
20 was purchasing, and 21's nuisances.
Oh, I'm on general. All right, that one already passed.
I was like, how did I mess this up?
So did anybody,
Okay, I move we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
motion by Donna Allen, second by Walter Hayes to put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance amending Title 5, Building Code, Chapter 500, General Provisions by amending Section 500.150 fees to increase the fee structure for new construction and addition permits.
Discussion.
This was because of the previous one, our fees were low and we were not paying for ourselves. This brings us to that point where what we charge the contractors and what we expend on office staff and that type of thing, balance out so that we're not losing money, we're just breaking even.
Any further discussion?
Make a motion to put it on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Roger Spencer, second by Donna Allen to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance amending Title 5, Building Code, Chapter 500, General Provisions by amending Section 500.150 fees to increase the fee structure for new construction and addition permits.
Any further discussion?
Make a motion that we put this ordinance on final passage. Second.
Motion by David Pyle, second by Walter Hayes to put this ordinance on final passage. It'll be a hand vote to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative, please vote electronically. 8 yeses, none opposed. That's ordinance number. Ordinance passes.
2422.
Get that, Holly?
Got it.
Thank you. Sorry, I had to do that. Next, administration report. What do you guys have for Steve?
What does Steve have for us?
Well, read it
Oh.
there.
I've got a lot
I-
stacked here.
What about the dog park? Have we pulled that?
5th was our cutoff date for that. No response for him, so we need to assign that to the next contractor that bid on it. And I'll have that for you at the next meeting.
How about the basketball court? Both of them.
This one, he got the primer on out here. Paint's ordered, and actually he picked up the paint yesterday, so he'll be finishing that up. And as soon as he's done with that one, he'll move out to Four Oaks to start on that one.
Want to talk about the Buy America?
We've got two payment requests to pretty much final out the project. We are holding both of those because we have not received all of the documentation for the Buy America certifications from R.E. Smith, which means that the state is holding up our reimbursement. So we haven't got the money back from the state because we don't have those. So we're hanging on to both of those until they get that paperwork to us.
Is that something they're working on, or?
It is something that they're working on. In fact, I got an email this afternoon, right about 5 o'clock, where she sent a few of them. And she said she is still trying to get the others. Because I sent a pretty
Strongly worded.
email of, this is the 4th or 5th time I have been asking for this for over a month, almost 2 months now. And I can't get anything done from the state. And now the state's asking me about it. So she emailed me this afternoon and gave me what she had. She said she will be lighting a fire under the remainder ones to get the rest of it. So it is in the works.
Is the state, do we have a deadline?
She has not mentioned it. I have been in contact with Patty, so she knows that this issue. I've been communicating with her.
Gonna talk about the meeting with Carter.
We have another meeting coming up with the senator. That will be, she wants to know more about Briarbrook Drive and Fur Road. And where we're at on that. I guess
That's gonna be after the election.
that will be after the election, yes.
So after today? Or after?
No, after November.
After
She
the
wants to get the people who just got elected from the Jasper County Commission plus Job and Special Road District and us talking about it.
Yeah.
Because she's had a lot of complaints.
She's done a really good, in my opinion, she's done a really good job of getting people together and getting conversations started of entities and stuff.
Yeah, I guess we talked with her about the municipal court. She had a meeting on that. Steve and I went to that, and Lane Roberts was there too. And they're going to try next session to change things to make it easier on us, Elena, and give us a little bit more punch in what we can do on people that violate our ordinances. Because we've talked about doing away with the court, and there's some of us that wanted to do that, some of us didn't want to do that. So we'll have to wait and see if they get anything passed next legislative session. So we're going to continue our municipal court until that happens. And that's about it. You want to talk about stormwater? It's on here, right?
Well, that's a different one. Crystal did some research on some.
Well, that's downtown alley though.
Yeah, same project, different funding mechanism.
Might as well cover it now.
Okay, I got a phone call late yesterday afternoon from DNR. And you know how I told you that I had given up on that ARPA money for the stormwater projects? Well, guess what? We got offered that money for both of those stormwater projects. I have a Zoom meeting with DNR and our engineers tomorrow morning to discuss it. I did have a discussion with both Kurt and Michael out at Out Your Mark. Because of their current workload on other projects, ARPA projects especially, because those have that deadline in it. DNR told us that we have to have it designed out for bid, advertised, out for bid, and a contract signed with the contractor by December 24th. Alger Martin couldn't handle that. They could not meet that timeline. So I called Olson, and he told me the exact same thing. I can't get it. I wouldn't be able to get it done for you. I put a call in to Anderson in Ohm. Their initial thought was no, they wouldn't be able to get it done, but they would look. I found an engineer that we've worked with in the past, Jason Eckert. He started his own firm in Carthage called Zanaman. He said, yeah, we can do it. We can get it done. I sent him all the paperwork of what had already been done, the conceptual and the estimates and all of that Alger Martin had done. He says, yeah, he says, I think we can get it. I think we can do that. So I asked him to send me an agreement. So, but the big thing is that usually dealing with DNR and MoDOT, you have to go out for an RFQ, qualification based, to select an engineer. If we do that, that adds another 30 days to the project, and we couldn't get it done in that time period then. So that's part of the conversation we have to have with them tomorrow, is to find out about that. Worst case scenario is that we can actually, and they would use the ARPA money for it, they would actually pay for all of the engineering on both projects, and we know that we can get that done before the end of December, which, as we know, engineering is expensive. So we would have 2 stormwater projects, totally engineered, sitting on the shelf, ready to go when money is made available, which makes it a lot nicer. It shortens up the time period on it. I've got to ask him about the engineering on it, and I've got to see if there's any waivers available on it. As far as I know, the feds have not budged off of that December date for anybody. Maybe we can get them to consider the fact that it doesn't have to be under contract, but it could be in the bid phase, and we could take some couple of weeks off of it that way, and they would still consider that as being obligated. Downtown is just under 1.3 million. And West Briarbrook Lane was $392,000. We're trying to react as quick as we can on it.
Any questions? It's gonna be tight.
Mhm.
Heck, the meeting tomorrow will decide, because we have to have 3 weeks when you go out for bid.
Yeah,
See, that's the problem.
21 days.
Yeah, it's just, if they can shorten that, I don't know if they'll be able to or not.
So if we don't have to have the RFP, RFQ, whatever we're doing,
The RPJ.
no, the request for,
Yeah, if we don't have to go for the RFQ,
if we don't have to have that,
that
they can
that
start on it,
makes
they
Yeah,
can start
that makes it
engineering
doable.
right away.
Yeah,
That makes it a lot
Yeah.
more doable.
Well,
because
we're
we've already
aware-
had 3 guys tell us they can't do it.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Well, and I'm sure that's probably what they're running into all over the state, is why people are deciding now they can't do it and the money's dumping back. And
People are deobligated.
if they would give us a waiver on that front end or allow it to just be under bid, either way, we can make that. Talk really nice to them.
Yes. The guy was actually
Say
good.
please.
He said, this is, we understand this is very short.
Yeah.
That's
And-
what he wanted to make sure of.
Obviously, with the dollar amount, if we can only get one in, it'll be.
Yeah. And what I didn't put in there, I'm going on vacation. I'll be gone all next week. not so grumpy. That's what my daughter told
I
me.
doubt it.
Yeah.
Going on vacation, what else is new?
Yeah, it was, you know.
Anything else for the city administrator?
She'll say the parking lots look really good.
Really good.
Oh, they
Yep.
do, I was gonna say.
They were out here working
Yeah.
around that fitness center the other night.
When it's 100 degrees out, you walk across one, you just
Did you
die.
talk to Matt again about-
Couldn't they paint them white?
They're going to be, the next part of that is they're gonna go out to Brybrook Drive and they will get that right-hand turn lane and the left-hand turn lane restriped where it's supposed to be with the stop bars in the right place and all of that, so.
Good. Anything else? Next is department reports. PD, what do we got for Mark?
Everybody's stealing cars?
Yeah.
Teslas.
We have
Steal a
one that was
Tesla,
stolen,
never forget.
and we're not quite sure about the other one. The victim has given us multiple stories now about what has happened to his car, when it happened to his car. So we're not even sure that it was stolen from our city when he said it was stolen from our city. So, yeah.
Anything else for the chief?
I have a question. Do you have a police chaplain?
Yes, we do have a guy that, he's been quite busy, so we've had a little bit of a struggle getting him in, but, within the past couple of weeks, he's come in a couple of times. That we did vet him, do a background on him. He was military chaplain, been through training for, to be a chaplain, so he is on our roster.
I know a couple pastors.
Imagine that.
I don't know if you can get vetted.
Well, look, since Claire left, the fire department asked us, so I pop in down there every now and then. But I'm not, official chaplain or anything, so.
Does Ally have any announcements about any upcoming events?
Just the car show, October 5th, for Shop with a Cop. We're gonna try and raise money that way. It was an idea that was presented to us, and so we're gonna try that out. It's gonna be here at the community center.
Good.
October 5th, mark your calendar.
Amos can bring his new truck.
It costs $20 to enter.
I was gonna say it'll
It's
be,
gonna cost you $100 to enter all your cars.
Anything else for chief? Moving right along, we'll go to Public Works. Anything for Jay? I'd ask you to do, it was my sprinkler system that optics cut into, not our water line.
They're almost done.
Yeah, that's what you think.
You got those 4 acres and they're done.
it's working good.
I don't know if this is for Jay or not, but are we getting any of the water line pictures we're supposed to get? I haven't done mine yet.
With the lead,
It's a lead, yeah.
I haven't looked at that file lately to know what's in there.
sitting mine
That's
in the
coming
first
up,
week.
October, I think, is when we have to send in our first report.
I just wonder how much time I have.
Is that it for Jay? Any more for Jay? I don't think we have a treasurer's or a other report, so what? Core report, yeah, okay. I did see that in here. But we don't have anybody to ask stuff about.
I'll ask.
How's the training coming on Renee?
Good.
Okay. Very good. All right, then we move along to committee reports. Budget and Finance.
We are going to need to schedule a meeting, you think 6:30 to figure out everything on the financing for how much time you think we'll need?
Wow, at least 30 minutes.
Do 6, let's do 6, that way we have a break in between if we get done early before the next meeting. To discuss funding options for the technology upgrades that we need.
Is that before the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. put that on the schedule.
And other than that, hopefully we get like some numbers back too, so we can start figuring out what we're gonna need to do for vehicles next year.
Yep.
But other than that, I think that's, and pro forma is in, we're getting a whopping, what, $3,089 more?
If I did my math.
If we did the math right, from last year to this, from this year to next year, we will get a whopping $3,089 more in general fund. But the good news for taxpayers, and this is good news, it goes up 0.6 cents or something like that on the general, but the GO bond levy dropped, so people will have a lower tax levy
The
next
overall
year.
tax levy will go down, and we should be able to set the tax levy at the next regular meeting and not have to have a special.
So,
And that's, we're getting more money in the general fund than your $3,000,
no,
aren't we?
no. We get the pro
3,000
forma.
is the increase from what the levy was. You know what, I'll have better math for you.
Yep.
Because it's going down in the general.
General fund, the levy is going up,
Okay,
But like
I mean,
0.6 cents.
the bond.
zero obligation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so 3,000 more, give or take, if everybody pays their taxes.
We got 108%
Everybody
last year or
does now.
something.
Yeah, because we collected past due.
Yeah.
So,
Anything else for budget?
I have,
Yes.
I don't know if it'll affect our budget directly or not, but I see the governor signed that state bill 756, where they're gonna lower the taxes for people 62 and over. Supposedly. I
Only
don't
if
know,
it's
how will
above.
that affect our budget if,
well, it has to either be adopted by the three commissioners or a referendum. And I have only heard of one area county that's kind of leaning towards doing it because they're not even sure how they would implement all of it. I have a feeling it'll probably get amended again. But from what I can tell, just trying to put some numbers together, it would probably affect maybe approximately 17% of our real property owners. Maybe not even that high. I mean, just going off the census. So some of them may not be property owners, some may be land, renters.
All that does is freeze the assessed value, right?
Right, which means we can't levy
Right,
anything over that.
but that should change their formula too.
No, you can't.
No, because the reason it has is our assessed valuation goes up.
Mhm.
And so that's why we don't get so much, because they say for inflation. Our assessed valuation on those properties is not gonna go up. It's
Right.
only gonna go up on the ones that don't have that.
Right. But you still have to report that amount on the pro forma as collected. And then it's a credit. That amount, the changed amount on the tax statements has to show the actual valuation, assessed value. Then what it would be, then it comes back and gives a credit line that changes it. So your actual full amount is what will show on the pro forma, because it, according to the bill, it shows that was collected and you credited it back.
Oh, okay.
So it will affect taxing districts like fire districts and cities, and everything is why. And I spent about 45 minutes talking with Jill Carter, because she said there's still so many things to iron out. Because the way they've done it, it's still clear as mud. So, but
It's like everything else.
but she has met with Jasper County commissioners and everything, and they're not actually in favor of it because it could cost $200,000 to implement it for some cities just to get it figured out how to do it. But
Yeah, if I do a referendum.
yeah, if they do a referendum, then there's not a choice. And Newton County supposedly is considering it, which would put more pressure on Jasper County, but it would affect. I mean, I want my taxes froze too, but realistically, it's going to cut, some
Should
services.
put it on silent, huh?
Not sure how, it may not be that large of an impact for us, but we won't know because next year's a reassessment year too. so that could really hit. So anyhow, that's all I know about where we're at on this.
Anything else for, what are we talking about, budget?
Yeah.
Code and nuisance, Rick.
Nothing, yes, sir.
Anything for Rick? Human resources, Roger.
Nothing.
Anything for Roger? Public facilities, David.
Public Facilities Committee met at 6:00 this evening to review the technology proposals for Mid Central, specifically the PD proposals. The meeting ended with the next steps being clarification on specifications for laptops and desktop computer in the proposal, and then budget committee to meet now at 6:00 on the 20th to talk budget in regard to those proposals. That's all.
Anything else for David? Economic development, Holly.
No,
Anything for Holly? Well, we'll just stay with you for unfinished business.
no, sir.
Bob?
Nothing.
Rick?
No, sir.
Roger?
Nothing.
I don't think I do either. I can't remember. Oh. LaDonna?
Now I won't do.
David?
No, sir.
Walter?
No, sir.
Carol?
No, sir.
Mr. Talley? Lana?
No, sir.
Crystal?
No, sir.
Steve?
One item, we have and I'll have it for the next meeting, but to warn you, we've got a change order on the sidewalk project that is extra work near Arlington and Dean, and it is to remove some of the previous project stuff, and I guess there's a water valve that has to be moved.
It's the concrete over from the last phase, and I was talking to Owen down there, and I said, is there any way we can get this fixed right now? It's about a 4 foot by 4 foot piece. When the other contractor went up through there, they covered all of our valves up, covered all the water meter boxes up, and we've got them all dug out except for that one that's under the concrete.
All right. Good luck. Anything else, Steve?
No, sir.
Anything for you, Jay?
No, I was just gonna say that we hired our other 2 employees that we needed, so we're up to full staff now.
Good.
And I think we're probably gonna get to start on that sidewalk out there at Rockford now. That goes through the park.
Oh, cool.
2 years ago.
Good. That'll be nice when if we ever get the playground done.
Are they still doing the floor?
Yeah, they've done part of it.
I was out there last week and it seemed like it was half done.
Well, yeah, well, it's probably half done then. I haven't seen them out there at all. We've talked to Smith about it and told him try and get there.
They've got about a third of that pour in place done now. I did go out there and meet with Shayla Gould about remember those signs that she had, those play signs that she came in? We got those marked, so get those in place.
Anything else for Jay? Anything, Mark?
The new officers are all out on their own now, patrolling. I still am not full staff though. I haven't had any applications for a few months now, so we may need to run another ad. I meant to say something to Steve earlier today when I was in his office, but forgot, so
Just one short?
technically 2 short.
Anything else for Mark? New business. Carol?
No, sir.
Walter?
No, sir.
David?
No, Mayor.
LaDonna?
No, sir.
I have nothing.
Nothing.
Roger? Rick? Sir. Bob? Holly? Mr. Shelley? Elena? Crystal? Steve?
No, sir.
Jay? Mark? Is there any other business before the council?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by David Pyle, second by LaDonna Allen. We adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative. We are adjourned. Thank all of you for attending. Because I really liked it. And I'm old and I still like